Have you ever paused and questioned the purpose of your existence? This is a question that has perplexed humanity for centuries, pushing us to the edge of our understanding and beyond. One man who dared to delve into this abyss of uncertainty was Arthur Schopenhauer, a renowned 19th century German philosopher. Schopenhauer was born into a wealthy family in Danzig, a bustling port city teeming with traders and intellectuals. His early years were marked by a privileged upbringing and a fondness for the arts. However, underneath the veneer of prosperity, Schopenhauer was grappling with profound questions about the nature of existence. His curiosity led him to the realm of philosophy, where he found solace and a sense of purpose. Schopenhauer was not just a philosopher. He was a seeker, a thinker, and a questioner. He stood out from his peers with his unorthodox ideas about life and existence. One of Schopenhauer's most significant contributions to philosophy is his concept of will. He argued that life is driven by a continually dissatisfied will, perpetually seeking satisfaction. This dissatisfaction, he believed, is what spurs us on, what makes us strive for more, what makes us human. Yet it also brings about suffering, for the will can never be fully satisfied. Schopenhauer's pessimistic philosophy may seem bleak, but it is not without its merits. It forces us to confront the harsh realities of life, to acknowledge our inherent dissatisfaction, and to seek meaning beyond our immediate desires. Schopenhauer's philosophy is a mirror that reflects our deepest fears and desires, forcing us to confront the truth of our existence. As we delve deeper into the mind of this unique philosopher, we begin to see the intricate web of thoughts that shaped his understanding of life. From his privileged upbringing to his philosophical journey, every facet of Schopenhauer's life contributed to his unique perspective on existence. Let's dive deeper into the mind of this unique philosopher and see how his thoughts evolved over time. Schopenhauer's main work, The World as Will and Representation, is a cornerstone of his philosophy. This masterpiece, in essence, presents the world not as the rational place we might perceive it to be, guided by Enlightenment thinking, but rather as an irrational entity. A world driven not by reason or logic, but by a blind, ceaseless will. Schopenhauer argues that our reality as we experience it is a mere representation. He suggests that our senses and intellect shape our perception of the world, but this perception is not the ultimate reality. The world, according to Schopenhauer, is fundamentally irrational and driven by the will. The will, in Schopenhauer's perspective, is a blind, ceaseless force, a primal drive that fuels our desires and actions. This viewpoint is a radical departure from the Enlightenment ideals, which held reason and rationality at the heart of human experience. Enlightenment thinkers believed in the power of human reason to understand and shape the world. But Schopenhauer, in his philosophical audacity, tossed this notion aside. He proposed that the world is not a rational place governed by laws of logic and reason, but is instead driven by a force that is fundamentally irrational. And where did this profound idea originate? It was a product of Schopenhauer's early fascination with the philosophy of Immanuel Kant. Kant's work had a profound influence on Schopenhauer. He was particularly intrigued by Kant's idea of the thing in itself, the reality that exists independent of our perception. Schopenhauer took this concept and developed it further, postulating that the thing in itself is the will. The will, for Schopenhauer, is the underlying force behind everything in the universe. It is irrational and ceaseless, driving all of our actions and desires. It is the root of all suffering and the source of all life. Schopenhauer's idea of the will was revolutionary and brought a new perspective to the philosophical discourse of his time. This irrationality of the world was a recurring theme in Schopenhauer's philosophy. It is a concept that challenges our understanding of reality and forces us to reconsider our place in the world. It is a testament to Schopenhauer's philosophical brilliance and his enduring legacy. Schopenhauer is often regarded as the philosopher of pessimism. He held a rather grim view of human existence, seeing it as a ceaseless struggle driven by unending desires. These desires, according to Schopenhauer, are often met with pain and suffering. Imagine a life where you're perpetually running on a treadmill of desires. You're constantly pursuing something, and no sooner do you attain one goal than you set another. It's a relentless cycle of desire, fulfillment, and then the birth of a new desire. Schopenhauer saw this as a tragic condition of human existence. He posited that our desires are always just out of reach, and when we do manage to grasp them, they often bring disappointment rather than satisfaction. But according to Schopenhauer, there's a way out of this grim cycle. He believed that only escape from the suffering of existence is through aesthetic contemplation. When we engage with art, music, or literature, we are able to step outside of ourselves, to stop viewing the world through the lens of our individual desires, and instead become a will-less observer. In Schopenhauer's view, when we are engaged in aesthetic contemplation, we are not driven by our will, by our desires and needs. Instead, we are simply present, observing the world without the need to act upon it. We are able to appreciate the beauty and wonder of the world without being ensnared by our relentless desires. This state of will-less observation, according to Schopenhauer, is a momentary release from the suffering inherent in existence. It's a brief respite, a chance to step off the treadmill of desire and simply be. Schopenhauer's philosophy may seem pessimistic, but it also offers a way to navigate the suffering of existence. By embracing aesthetic contemplation, we can find moments of peace and tranquility amidst the turmoil of life. This pessimistic view of life is one of the defining characteristics of Schopenhauer's philosophy. His insights into the nature of human desires and the suffering they cause offer a unique perspective on the human condition, one that continues to resonate with many even today. Scene script. Schopenhauer was one of the first Western philosophers to incorporate Eastern philosophy into his own. Picture a mid-19th century philosopher nestled in the heart of Industrial Revolution Europe, yet profoundly influenced by the wisdom of the East. That's Arthur Schopenhauer for you. Schopenhauer found himself deeply fascinated by Hindu and Buddhist philosophies. He was particularly drawn to the Upanishads, ancient Hindu scriptures that speak of the nature of reality and human existence. The Upanishads introduced Schopenhauer to the concept of Brahman, the ultimate reality, and Atman, the inner self. These concepts resonated with Schopenhauer's belief in the primacy of the will, leading him to conclude that the world and our individual selves are expressions of a singular underlying will. Buddhism also had a profound impact on Schopenhauer. He found a parallel between his own pessimistic philosophy and the Buddhist view of life as dukkha, or suffering. Both philosophies assert that desire is the root cause of suffering and advocate for the cessation of desire as the path to liberation. This led Schopenhauer to embrace the Buddhist concept of nirvana, a state of liberation from the cycle of birth and death, or in Schopenhauer's terms, liberation from the ceaseless striving of the will. Schopenhauer's fascination with reincarnation further deepened his connection with Eastern philosophies. He saw in it a reflection of his own belief that the will to live is an insatiable, eternally recurring force. In reincarnation, Schopenhauer found a metaphor for the perpetual cycle of desire and dissatisfaction that he believed characterizes human existence. This synthesis of Eastern and Western thought gave Schopenhauer's philosophy a distinct flavor. It allowed him to articulate a philosophy that was pessimistic in its analysis of human existence, yet offered a path to liberation in the form of asceticism and the cessation of desire. This fusion of Eastern and Western philosophies gave Schopenhauer's philosophy a unique perspective. This perspective continues to fascinate and inspire thinkers across the globe, underscoring the enduring relevance of Schopenhauer's philosophical insights. Schopenhauer's philosophy has left a lasting impact on various fields. This profound thinker's ideas have permeated through the fabric of numerous disciplines. From literature to music, psychology to metaphysics, his influence is vast and far-reaching. Consider literature. Schopenhauer's writings were a source of inspiration for many of the great literary figures of the 19th and 20th centuries. His ideas about the will, suffering, and the futility of desire found resonance in the works of writers such as Thomas Hardy, Marcel Proust, and Leo Tolstoy, among others. These authors, stirred by Schopenhauer's insights, wove his philosophical ideas into the very fabric of their narratives. Then there's music. Schopenhauer proposed that music was a direct expression of the world's will, the very essence of reality. This belief greatly influenced the work of composers like Richard Wagner, who saw his operas as a manifestation of Schopenhauer's philosophy. In the realm of psychology, Schopenhauer's concept of the will influenced the thinking of Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Freud's notion of the unconscious, a powerful force driving human behavior, echoes Schopenhauer's idea of the will as a blind, irrational force that controls our actions. As for metaphysics, Schopenhauer's ideas continue to be a topic of discussion among philosophers. His notion that the world is fundamentally irrational and driven by blind, striving will remains a powerful counterpoint to more optimistic philosophical perspectives. Schopenhauer's thoughts continue to permeate philosophical discussions to this day, his ideas reverberating through the corridors of academic debate. His influence is a testament to the enduring power of his philosophical vision. Despite his pessimistic view of life, Schopenhauer's philosophy offers a unique perspective on the human condition and our place in the world. His legacy serves as a reminder of the depth and complexity of our existence, encouraging us to grapple with the challenging questions of life's purpose and meaning. Schopenhauer's philosophy, in all its stark realism, invites us to confront the world as it is, not as we wish it to be.